Bougainville Referendum Conference set for tomorrow. Court orders PNG Electoral Commission to prepare for NCD Regional trial. And Madang ready to host APEC Senior Finance Officials.
This is the National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us. This is Monday's news. A conference on the upcoming referendum on Bougainville is set to begin in Port Moresby tomorrow. Hosted by the PNG National Research Institute, the conference will focus on the theme implementation of the peace agreement and implications for the referendum. The conference is expected to feature speakers from the national government, autonomous Bougainville government, as well as research experts.
Over the next 3 days, the country's think tank, PNG National Research Institute, will host a conference focused on the upcoming referendum for the autonomous region of Bougainville. Under PNG NRI's Bougainville Referendum Research Project, the national conference is expected to feature presentations from the national government, the autonomous Bougainville government, donor partners, as well as researchers. This will be the second conference hosted by PNG NRI under the Bougainville Research Project. According to project lead Dr. Thomas Webster, this conference is aimed at creating a platform for more awareness and discussions on the referendum and surrounding issues which need to be addressed to ensure that the referendum is successful.
PNG NRI will have completed all the studies by June 2018, and from June 2018 to June 2019, which is a year from the target date for the referendum, we will be engaged in the communication of the findings. Basically, what that means is that we will take some of the research reports and say what are the key things that are emerging from the reports, and be able to take them apart and discuss them and try to get the PNG public and other people involved in the referendum to take those ideas and look at them in greater detail.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill and ABG President Chief Dr. John Mommis are expected to attend the proceedings in the coming days.
The Electoral Commission has been ordered by the Waigani National Court to provide documents for a trial hearing for the NCD Regional seat. Presiding Judge Justice Terence Higgins has given 2 days for the PNG Electoral Commission to provide the necessary documents after failing for a third time. Principal Petitioner Michael Kandiu says the process has been slow but has high hopes for justice as the trial begins Wednesday.
Supporters, families and friends of 3 regional candidates flocked the Waigani National Court this morning for the trial case. However, the case was deferred to Wednesday following the failure by the Electoral Commission to provide necessary details of the polling and counting for the NCD Regional seat. Speaking after the adjournment, Petitioner Michael Kandiu says he filed a petition on 4 grounds.
One is error of omission. 2 is breach of mandatory requirements of the scrutiny process, where they didn't allow the presiding officers to take place in counting. It's come under scrutiny, which is the breach of the mandatory requirement. And thirdly is the illegal practice during the polling and the counting centers.
The court order to EC will also see elected-related materials kept at the electoral office at Boroko be made available at the courthouse for the trial on Wednesday. Second Principal Petitioner Andy Bauer has urged supporters of candidates to remain calm and allow the trial to continue.
There's a moment that we've been waiting for the last couple of months. We all understand the discrepancies that was caused during the counting particularly. And for those reasons, we have decided to take the matter to court to seek justice.
Speaking on behalf of all NCD regional candidates contesting in the 2017 national elections, businessman Robert Egan says only time will tell and justice must be served.
There has been, the process has been slow and elongated and appears to be not going anywhere, but we seem to see, those slow progress taking place over the last month, last week or 2. And today has been, for me, the way I see it, is a small step forward in the right direction.
The case has been in court for almost a year. A separate contempt of court was also filed against Electoral Commissioner Patelis Gamato.
That is a separate matter before this court. And we have touched on this morning, that the contempt proceeding will be against the Electoral Commissioner, Mr. Gamato. If he failed to produce, he must have a reason why he should not provide those documents that we requested for. And those are very crucial for our court petition that's filed in court.
Jack Lopave Jr., National EMTV News.
Madang is ready to host senior finance officials from APEC countries who will be in the province for their meeting this week. Provincial Police Commander Chief Inspector Ben Neneo says security operations have commenced. 150 security personnel are on the ground to ensure that there are no disturbances.
A joint security task force comprising police and 17 PNG Defence Force personnel will provide security tomorrow. The task force team will make sure citizens are well behaved without causing nuisance during the senior finance officials meeting.
We will be making sure that people here don't cause any disturbance or problems at the time the meeting is held, so starting that's tomorrow.
Despite manpower, logistics and ammunition issues faced by local police, they will be making use of what resources they have and will also be getting assistance from the Joint Security Task Force personnel who are on the ground already.
We will make use of what we have on the ground, so that is what's happening. We're still waiting for a positive response, but like I said, we have started on yesterday using what available resources we have on the ground. So there'll be some reps from JSTF coming over anytime today, so they will let us know what we need to have, some of the things that we need before the actual meeting starts tomorrow.
Neneo is issuing a strong warning to opportunists not to cause any problems during the meeting this week. Police personnel are also stationed at hotspot areas in and around the town vicinity. Martha Louise, National EMTV News, Madang.
Sellers at Lay's market have told EMTV News that they are happy about the improvements by the new management of the market. They now have access to toilets and clean water supply, but they have been charged with multiple fees for their produce by different officers at the market.
This is Paulus Tang, a cocoa seller here at the Lay market. He has been buying cocoa in bags and reselling them for almost 10 years. Tang makes 100 kina a day from the sales if there are frequent customers. He said life has been tough for him at the market for the last 9 years. Mr. Tang said getting into the market and securing a market spot was never easy for him for the past years.
Mipla sa fight inside na megim kan all carry one them pama na black market mipla biro dasol. Now man you mistap good or say man RM talk blo mipla na mipla all get stap good diglik.
The new management of the Lay market came into being on the 22nd of May following recommendations by the 2017 audit report assigned by the Office of the Member for Lay. For the first time after 4 years, more than 50,000 kina was collected and banked last week. The new management was able to pay a fee of 10,000 kina to Water PNG to connect water after 2 months without water.
You mean na toilet me pass lo sample time me plan go out long okipil make mo sem so now I'm in good play licks straight in water and go back na me looking mo sem me nice lick.
The sellers, especially women who travel from other districts into Lay to sell the produce here at the Lay market, said gate fees have changed from 3 kina to 5 kina under the new management, but they are still paying a fee of 3 kina. Naomi Moons, a farmer who grows and sells watermelons with her daughter, said there should be better services provided suitable for them.
It's a good plus service, blowara maskam. Toilet to maskam up good, lo service me pla mama lo market.
Toilet, waratu, almost making more. Because almost sending some true, because now I'm not alright Thomas. Sometimes I'm flexing wara na helping me pla lo watarim cargo. Sometimes no god, stop na dry nothing. Na me pla tromoy.
Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Lay.
Tucked away in a small compound before the Makam Bridge outside of Leh is a small livestock compound belonging to the National Agriculture Research Institute. It is a hub where various animals are grown and distributed throughout the country. Today, our Leh crew visited the center to see what kind of work they do.
At 10 miles outside of Leh City, the National Agriculture Research Institute has a small operation where staff raise livestock for studies and distribution. From this hub, sheep, goats and other animals have gone to various parts of the country. It doesn't look like much, but staff here say the demand for live animals has never been higher.
Apart from trial and people breeding long, salim long, all interested farmers long combine go look out him.
Traditionally, the animal of choice for Papua New Guinean societies is the pig, which is used as a symbol of status and wealth. But Nari has been trying to encourage farmers in village communities to look at other livestock options like sheep and goats that also add to their food security.
Sheep na goat, I talk to Masli look out him also pig. Basically, I'm all back grass. Also now you can look him.
In the highlands, communities have been farming sheep and goats for close to 5 decades. In recent years, the need to introduce new stock has become more urgent, partly because of genetic problems and because of depletion.
People need long, increase in number, na come up in plenty more.
Here in Leh, Nari keeps a minimum of 60 animals. They're also battling and learning about common diseases that affect these animals. They're also battling another challenge, funding and quarantine restrictions that don't permit the organization to quickly replenish its stock. Scott Waide, National MTV News, Leh.
You're watching National MTV News. We go for a break now. We'll be back with more of the day's stories after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. New Ireland Governor Sir Julius Chan is rallying behind the World Campaign for Environment Protection in support of NCD Governor Paul Sparkop. Governor Pakop called for Papua New Guineans to plant trees across the country to mark World Environment Day tomorrow. Sir Julius put special emphasis on clear felling by loggers in PNG that has severely depleted the nation's forest resource. He said it was about time that we work together to regenerate our rainforests. He also supported the call for the government to declare 5th of June a public holiday so Papua New Guineans can plant trees. The New Ireland Governor has called on his people to plant trees tomorrow as a mark of confidence in transforming New Ireland province into a paradise. Long-term tenants of National Housing Corporation houses in Leh's Salamander area are calling on the government to ensure the Prime Minister's call to give away old NHC houses is carried out. Some of these families have been working on obtaining their titles for over 10 years and are still waiting.
These families live in NHC houses in the Salamander and Papuan compound areas. Most of them are families of public servants and retired officers who have been living in the houses for over 20 years. Whilst a few have already received their titles, most are still waiting.
Some papa only die finished. Now we have all widow stop long house. Na two now widow stop. Some all die. Now picnic to come up. Na only no sabe lo when I'm stand now only stand long em.
Zacchaeus Pasanai was a public servant who has been living in his home for 30 years. He has been trying to obtain his title for the past 20 years.
Mira lagi National Housing Commission na Lands Department only mas look na go through the process na process mo title bumla.
Mr. Pasanai is just one of many others facing this problem. In 2008, the Tigibis family at Ericus Doyle Street were evicted from their home after their father paid off the property under the government's sell-off scheme. They were waiting to be transferred the title when the house was sold to someone else.
Been time master eviction notice and been put down the ciclo same year stroke kisime 8 middle house me look out mem lo house me go come long court making me go and 4 years em start 2011 em die.
These residents held this meeting to speak about the problems they have been facing living in the houses.
Plenty of people sit down at the houses, all the houses all run down. Only not got maintenance for the last 20 or 30 years. Mibla tenants yet, Mibla Karimados la maintenance.
The story that has been echoed is of the rental areas the NHC says they have, despite deductions made from their pay. Earlier this year, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill said NHC homes should be given to tenants under the giveaway scheme. The residents are calling on the government to ensure this is done.
Government now releasing all the houses, releasing titles. Come lo Mibla like on him the houses and Mibla like improve him.
Lucy Kopana, National, MTV News, Leh.
20 students of Divine Word University have received certificates for completing a leadership program on diversity and inclusion at the Madang campus. The Diversity and Inclusion Leadership Program aims to transform students to be leaders who are able to appreciate diversity and be inclusive in decision-making. DWU Registrar Cecilia Ndroa said the program was developed as a long-term impact project on promoting respect in National University and beyond its boundaries. So far, 37 students have applied to participate in the program next semester. Among the participants are 2 full-time master students. The small occasion was held at the Sir Peter Bata Auditorium at the Divine Words Madang campus. Here with National MTV News, stories making headlines when we come back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas now, Singapore has seized the spotlight lately by hosting not just the Security Summit during the weekend, but also the big one on the 12th of June. In this report, we find out why the city-state was selected for the setting for such a major event.
Welcome to Singapore, known for its mythical mascot, the merlion. Half fish, half lion. And soon, something even more surreal. Some are calling it the meeting of the century, the first ever summit between a sitting U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Teams from Washington and Pyongyang are on the ground, with only days to figure out a long list of logistical challenges, everything from the venue, infrastructure, and security, to who will cover the costs, given North Korea is a cash-strapped country. Of all the sites officials floated, Singapore is not the most adventurous like Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, nor the most diplomatic like Geneva or Stockholm. It's not even the most symbolic place considered, like Panmunjom on the Korean demilitarized zone. So why choose this small city-state for one of the biggest geopolitical meetings of our time? For one, location. Singapore is just close enough for North Korean leader Kim Jong-un to fly relatively easily from Pyongyang. It's also one of Washington's closest Asian security and trading partners, making it friendly turf for President Trump. The U.S. and North Korea both have embassies here. In fact, North Korea moved to this new building a couple of years ago. They also both trade here, although North Korean trade is currently suspended over sanctions. Singapore also has a growing reputation as a hub for regional diplomacy. It hosted this major security forum over the weekend. Perhaps attractive to both Kim and Trump, Singapore does not tolerate rowdy protests that disrupt public order. Rowdy press conferences don't happen here either. Singapore is a tourism hotspot, known for chili crab and a striking skyline. But most importantly for the U.S., it's neutral ground. All of it making Singapore perhaps the most conventional choice for two of the world's most unconventional leaders.
In Australia, disgraced politician Barnaby Joyce's partner has told how she was pressured to abort the unborn baby by members of Australia's Conservative Party. It was the first time she had spoken publicly since news of their affair captivated Australia.
She's the woman at the centre of the biggest political scandal in decades. And in a tell-all interview with Seven's Sunday night program, Vicky Campion broke her silence about the affair that rocked Australia.
Here we go, we're going to do this one set, so one shot. One shot. Wow.
It was revealed Barnaby Joyce and his former media advisor began their relationship in late 2016.
When did it go from professional to romantic?
I think we were close for a long time before there was anything.
A long time after other people thought it had, that's for certain.
But when Ms Campion fell pregnant last year, she claims she was pressured by some Conservatives to have an abortion.
You have to get an abortion. And I said, yeah, it's too late. It has a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's the absolute scum of the earth people that you can involve yourself with.
Barnaby Joyce says he knew he'd have to move to the back bench once the pregnancy was made public.
I don't believe in abortion, so I just knew straight away that basically at that point I had my job I was going to lose my job as the Deputy Prime Minister.
Bizarrely, Mr Joyce says the idea of questioning his son's paternity was a joint decision. But Ms Campion wasn't impressed.
A lot of people thought, gee, way to throw your partner under the bus. Yeah, well, it was actually a decision we made together. And we just wanted...
I didn't use the words grey area.
The Nationals MP wouldn't answer questions about his wife and 4 daughters, but took aim at the Prime Minister over his comments on the scandal and the so-called bonk ban.
Barnaby made a shocking error of judgment in having an affair with a young woman working in his office.
I don't think that will ever be his Gettysburg Address, will it? I never expected a gold star. And I did not expect the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Australia to go and do a doorstop on it. That was wrong.
Now the couple say their focus is just on being good parents to little Sebastian Joyce.
You just look at this, 2 blue eyes staring up at the blue sky and staring back at you, and you look at Sebastian and you think, boy, man, you cause some problems.
To Hawaii now, the people who ignored evacuation orders are now surrounded by flowing lava. The only option left is to be airlifted out.
That is a huge lava front there, just consuming everything in its path. Massive amounts of molten rock, an unstoppable force of nature.
From above, the devastation is widespread.
This is the community of Kapoho. Authorities have been anticipating that the lava would get here for days.
Helicopter pilot Colin Burkhardt has watched it all unfold since the eruption began a month ago.
This could be an inevitable lava flow. It could end up being the new eruption site. It may never go back to Pu'uo'o crater. It may never shift back up the rift zone.
Homes and businesses are gone, and anything that survives here will be cut off from the rest of the island. Residents packed up what they could before the lava arrived.
This area is known as Four Corners because it's the intersection of 2 major highways. Lava has covered it all. There is nothing left here. And with it, the 2 major escape routes for people in this community.
This is Bill's house. On the ground in Leilani Estates, lava is still taking out homes. When this one caught fire, a sheriff's deputy on vacation from Virginia and curious about the lava just happened to be there.
So I went around the side, banged on the door a couple times, announced, sheriff's department, and then I reached the door.
Smoke filled the home, but no one was there. Deputy Patch helplessly watched it burn.
It was bad, knowing you can't do anything about it.
From the air, Leilani Estates has changed dramatically over the last 4 weeks. Where there were once homes and a thriving community, there are now just rivers of lava with no end in sight. The landscape here has been changed permanently.
To New Zealand, and there's a flavour of pop culture and political activism among the 8 knights and dames named in this year's Queen's Birthday Honours list in New Zealand. Becoming a dame is Prostitutes Collective co-founder Catherine Healy for supporting sex workers.
And up to the people in the sex industry to take control of that situation and say, well, no Joe, no go.
Times have changed, but Catherine Healy's voice in the fight to protect the rights of sex workers has remained.
I come from a generation where, as sex workers, we were entrapped by people who were pretending to be clients and in fact turned out to be police officers, and we had to go to court and we had to stand up and take all that stigma and shame in a public way.
Hello, NZPC.
This prompted Healy to start the Prostitutes Collective 30 years ago, then began her long fight to decriminalise sex work. It polarised the country and led to impassioned debate.
I support this bill for all the prostitutes I have ever known who died before the age of 20.
Well, we think it's unsafe and immoral
Just hours before a parliamentary vote in 2003, Healy herself was unsure if the Prostitution Reform Act would pass.
I haven't felt like this since I stood in a courtroom with a woman who was facing soliciting charges, and that was fairly touch and go.
But it did pass. Healy says there have also been many challenges along the way. The deaths of several sex workers weighs on her mind.
You know, the sex worker communities are deeply affected by those tragedies.
She says while New Zealand has led the way with law reform, we still have some way to go when it comes to attitudes towards sex workers.
It would be good if sex workers were recognised as being really a part of society and, you know, could feel comfortable.
A sex worker that I spoke to said that Healy had had a huge impact on her life. She said that Healy had helped her successfully prosecute a brothel owner for sexual harassment. Healy says the Queen's birthday honour is an absolute privilege.
Incredibly moved.
To Britain, and in the Tower of London, an unusual tradition has been upheld for more than 300 years. In this report, we take a look inside the Ravens' quarters.
The future of the monarchy may rest with the heirs to the throne, but it may also rest on these feathered shoulders.
There's a good boy. There's a good boy.
It's morning shift time at the Tower of London, and Raven Master Chris Scaife is letting the birds out to save the kingdom, or so the myth goes.
So the legend is that unless these birds stick around this old pile, the monarchy falls?
Well, not so much the monarchy, but the kingdom itself. But of course, the monarchy
so not
as
just
the
the monarchy.
Yes.
The Tower, the fortress turned prison turned execution site, has been at the center of British history for 1,000 years, a place ravens, with their taste for dead meat, would naturally hang out.
The ravens come where trouble is.
Yeah, of course, ravens throughout history have had a rather bad rep, and they have been known to follow soldiers into battles on the hunt for a good piece of food. Right? Absolutely.
By royal decree, it takes 6 ravens to protect the realm, and while Harris and Grip, Aaron and Rocky, Jubilee and Merlina have stuck around despite the lack of executions lately, the Birdman of the Tower isn't taking any chances.
I don't want them to leave the tower and fly away, so what I do is I trim up 1 or 2 of their flight feathers depending on the size of the bird, the weight of the bird.
And he keeps a spare, Poppy, should any of the others make a break for it. It's happened before.
Many years ago, Raven George left the Tower of London, and he went down to one of the pubs there, and he was last seen sitting outside, I think, drinking beer.
Birds or no birds, the monarchy seems safe. Opinion polls put public support for it around 70%. In fact, rather than the birds protecting the monarchy,
there's a good gal.
It seems it's the monarchy that protects the birds.
Here with Monday's news, we go for a break now. When we come back, some sporting updates in Trukai Sports. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Kumul Petroleum Holdings today presented a check of 50,000 kina to PNG Swimming as silver sponsors to the 12th Oceania Swimming Championship, which is scheduled for June the 26th in Port Moresby. PNG's best swimmers will compete at this event.
KPHL Business Planning Manager Gary Mazewin, upon presenting the check of 50,000 kina to PNG Swimming Inc., says not only will the support make the event possible, but will also reach out to young champion swimmers of the country, providing a platform to showcase their talents.
We are pleased to be the silver sponsor of the Oceania Swimming Championship, as it aligns well with our vision to create opportunities for Papua New Guineans. The international event will provide a platform for our athletes to step up and showcase their talent in a competitive field.
Penny says the Oceania Swimming Championships is a bigger event than what was hosted during the Pacific Games.
Like you said, we've got 150 elite athletes, over 200 will be coming to the shores of Papua New Guinea. VIPs coming from around the world, so it's a great opportunity to showcase our excellent facilities that were built for the Pacific Games in 2015, and this is a commitment that PNG Swimming made as a part of building these new facilities, is to host another international competition, and we're able to do that with the support of Kumul Petroleum.
Secretary for PNG Swimming Inc. and Oceania Organizing Committee, Kali Pini, says training for PNG swimmers is going well.
We've got 24 athletes, as well as 3 coaches and a manager. There's 8 swimmers who are based in Lae. From all reports, they're training well up there, and the remaining of the squad, we have 1 that's based overseas, but all our other swimmers are based here in Port Moresby.
Veteran swimmer Ryan Penny says the event is also a lead-up to next year's Pacific Games.
It's a bigger event than what we hosted at Pacific Games in terms of swimmers in the water, and having Australia and New Zealand there definitely ups the showcasing of talent in the pool. So it'd be very good to watch, and especially for our younger Papua New Guineans here. If they make the team, they'll be witnessing some great swimming. If they don't make the team, they'll still be there witnessing some really good talent in the pool. And
the event will see a total of 16 countries compete, including Australia and New Zealand. Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
To football now, and with the National Soccer League season over, the PNG Football Association is setting its sights on other spectacles. Competitions manager Simon Koima said the Under-17 National Youth Tournament and the annual Besta FA Cup are exciting events, whilst NSL manager Leslie Babaga promises a bigger and better 2019 season.
That's from the Momasa region alone. So they'll be playing in Madang. And under the leadership of Madang Soccer President, Mr. Sigi Bessel, things are looking very good, and it's the biggest tournament, the biggest number of participants. We're offering to all, exclusively to all students, all schools, practically those who are currently participating in school competition, especially in soccer, and those who would like to participate and try out the game of football.
We just reiterating the idea that before the competition starts, everybody must meet the regulations. So that's where we're going to come strong in. We most probably won't actually start the competition until everybody's meet the requirements, or the franchise clubs meet the requirements. So we don't run into issues that we've faced this year.
And we'll have more of NSL on Sports Scene at 8 p.m. this evening. You're with Trukai Sports. We go for a break now and be back with more after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To Rugby League now. National Schools Rugby League competition, which is hosted at Geruhu in the Northwest Electorate in Port Moresby, is calling on the PNG RFL to be present at the venue. Despite a smooth flow of the primary school competition, limited resources to conduct the matches has been an ongoing issue. Teachers who volunteer to run the competition on the weekend say PNG RFL officers must be on the ground as well to oversee the competition.
The Geruhu Primary School field has been used to conduct the National Schools Rugby League competitions for the Moresby Northwest Electorate. Into its 5th week of competitions, there has been no official representative from PNG RFL to see how the game is being played.
To run this competition smoothly, we'd like to see that the National Rugby League body have to come down to this level of us grassroots, from the base level, to improve the playing standard.
According to Mr. Sosori, the competition is for primary school students, but high school students and outsiders have been participating in the competition, which is an issue they cannot control.
Other areas like training of us volunteers to run the competition effectively, monitoring the development of our children from the lowest division upwards.
The field's goal post is also made out of bamboo with no proper lines on the field.
The standard of the field is very low. As you can see, our goalposts are bamboos. It's not required. We are in the city and we should be up there. So it's also a negative, part in us teachers, but we are trying to make do with whatever little means and ways that we can get this field organized.
Director of Waigani Christian School, Benjamin Moole, also expressed similar concerns and called for support from local members to improve the standard of the competition in national schools rugby competition.
All sponsors, you must come good na sponsor more because feel him no good player, no got good player goal first. Na mino looking all proper landsman, one time uniform, na referee one time uniform. Na me too looking some security too lo here too. Na to me looking one ambulance or ambulance car or doctor staff lo here too. What if some mangi or some injuries or some sanding? Emi like more quick time through ambulance car na doctor you must come na straight him. So usai the sponsor him okay all you must come na take him up this law responsibilities.
Stacey Yallo, National EMTV Sports.
To football, and with the drive to develop and export local-based players, the Schools Football Association is determined to tap into the international market in a bid to develop PNG's champion footballers. Vice President Wesley Waiwai said with the current program in place, linking up with the overseas football academies is the way forward.
Realizing the importance of marketing local-based players to the well-established academies abroad, Schools Football is embarking on exposing its players to this rare opportunity.
More into the future of what we can build, a system that can build world-class citizens and go out there as sporting people and earn, in the bigger football markets, the type of money that's already available there.
Vice President Wesley Waiwai said PNG players can tap into these opportunities if given the right guidance and pathway to realize their full potential.
Contributing to sports and also contributing to revenue streams being built in remittance back into the country. Now for sports, we see the system as supporting, Papua New Guinea Football Association, okay, supporting FIFA to develop our football around the world in Papua New Guinea. So that we know that we are going to be playing in the World Cup.
Sharing the same sentiments, Southern Striker General Manager Gordon Manob says the future of the Southern Strikers Club is promising, given the management structure and plan in place already working wonders.
We want to see players coming out of our team representing their country, and in what we've already seen, the opportunity is there. It is not impossible to get into the World Cup. I think Papua New Guinea has so many good players, both men and women, that nobody's tapped in.
He added that the association is targeting the FIFA World Cup 2026 whilst building a strong pool of individual talents going through their established programs.
We have the program and the model that is giving us that opportunity to bring out those raw talents and building them into elite soccer players that will represent Papua New Guinea in the World Cup, we believe, in 2026.
The rest of the story will be featured on Sports Scene tonight. Shane Soroya, National EMTV Sports.
Turning abroad now into rugby union, 24 hours ago, Steve Hansen was dealing with injury concerns, a possible suspension and the on-field antics of two young stars. Well, today, things don't seem so bad. Captain Sam Whitelock and experienced flanker Sam Cane appear to be fit for selection, and the All Blacks have had a reprieve ahead of Saturday's season opener against France.
Steve Hansen sat down with a notepad full of topics to address, and one he wouldn't.
I'm not really interested in talking about Geordie or Rico. Enough's been said about that stuff.
He softened that approach when asked whether the weekend's hijinks and the recent All Black injuries have disrupted preparations.
We've had conversations with the people that need conversations, and injuries, you can't do anything about it. It's a physical game we play, and whilst the competitions are the way they are, everybody's going to get compromised.
Luckily, Sam Whitelock and Ryan Crotty appear to be over concussions, while Sam Cane should return from an abdominal strain. It offsets the loss of Brodie Retallick and Sonny Bill Williams, while Matt Todd is covering Artie Savia.
We've seen Artie Savia bump off people,
whose body took a battering in the Hurricanes Highlanders game. Locks Tom Franklin and Luke Romano have also joined the squad. There's also the bonus of Liam Squire being cleared by the judiciary despite the Citing Commissioner saying his clean-out of TJ Perenara was red card worthy.
I understand why he got cited, but I also understand why they let him off. Our game's very fluid, it's full of movement, and if people move late, you've got nowhere else to go, and you know.
Is it hard to give your players clarity when there's, you know, one person says this and another person says that within the judicial system?
Well, the whole game's like that. So, yeah, it is at times.
Squire's powerful running could be handy against a French defence that was the tightest in the Six Nations.
Running at about 92.5% tackle completion. They're only letting in 1.5 tries a game.
After their struggles against line speed last year, breaking the French defence is key for the 2018 All Blacks.
The trailblazing success achieved by some of New Zealand's prominent female sports stars has been recognised in the Queen's birthday honours. Among them, a trio of rugby stars, as the popularity of the women's sport reaches new heights.
Ordinary women doing extraordinary things and expecting nothing in return.
It's pretty mind-blowing. But this is a massive surprise, and I'm truly blessed to have the support of everyone around me.
Black Ferns captain Fio Fa'amosili today made an Officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit for services to rugby. The Detective Constable's 18-year rugby career includes 5 World Cup campaigns.
As my mum said, always keep giving and don't expect anything in return, and this is what you get rewarded with, so yeah, I'll still be doing that, giving back.
Former Black Ferns skipper Rochelle Martin has also been acknowledged. Appointed a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit for services to rugby and fire and emergency, Martin was the country's first female station manager.
There are plenty of opportunities out there that aren't just in the norm to go for and strive for.
Both Martin and Fa'amosili have been pioneers in women's rugby, helping to close the gap on sports gender inequality and leading to this year's landmark deal, 30 professional contracts.
It's long overdue, and I'm really proud of them and proud to be part of that legacy as well.
Also joining the legacy is Kiwi Ferns captain Laura Mariu, now a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit. She's dedicated 18 years to Women's Rugby League, won 3 World Cups, and like Fa'amosili is also serving her community as a police officer. And Fa'amosili's best advice?
You never lose, either you win or you learn. Never give up and just keep pushing yourself.
3 captains on the field, 3 leaders in the community, 3 humble women making a difference.
And that's it for Trukai Sports. We go for a break now. When we come back, the weather details for the next 24 hours.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
A look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region. Port Moresby, Kerama and Alotau can expect rain and drizzles over the next 24 hours. Partly cloudy for Daru, rain and showers for Popondetta. To the Momase region, Lae, Madang and Webe can expect rain and showers and thunderstorms expected for Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, some showers expected in Kokopo, partly cloudy for Kavieng, Kokopo and Rabaul, a shower or 2 for Kimbe and mostly fine in Buka. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, all these major centres can expect rain and drizzles over the next 24 hours.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And that's the news, sport and weather for today, Monday the 4th of June 2018. On behalf of the EMTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.